Hi, it's Mark from An American in Russia here to speak with you. Look, when I first came to Russia many years ago, there were so many things I couldn't understand about Russians. I mean, my American logic, my American mind just sometimes was radically different from Russian logic and the Russian mind. Much of the time I couldn't really accept these differences. I wanted to know why there were differences, what the differences were. It's just how my mind works. For example, just wondering what makes Russian people tick. An example of this would be, when I first arrived here, most Russian regions still had elections for their governors. The governor of the region where I lived seemed to be in trouble all the time in terms of mismanaging money. Money disappeared from the budget. He just always seemed to be mishandling the public funds. And now, after finishing his first 4-year term, he was running again for a second term, running in the election. Why would Russian people vote for a man who had stolen so much money from the people and from the budget during his first term? Why? I tried to figure out on my own why this would happen. Why would these Russian people vote for this man again when they knew so many bad things and how dishonest he had been during his first term? Why would they cast their vote for him in this new election? I asked others why this would be, without getting really any satisfactory answers to me, what seemed to be a very strange behavior. I was out for a walk with my wife, and I explained to her that I wasn't able to get a good answer to this question. I mean, I wasn't able to think of a good answer to it. I asked other people, and I couldn't get a good answer to it. My wife became very silent for a minute, it seemed, maybe two. I think she was pondering on the question, how to put it. Finally, she said, "Look, everybody knows he's a crook. And everybody knows he stole money hand over fist during his first term in office. However, the hope now is that he's stolen enough, that his pockets are already full. And now he'll start taking some of that budget money and start spreading it out amongst the people. I mean, for, road repairs and other things the governors should be doing. People know that if another person is elected, that the cycle's going to start over again, where this whole first term he's going to be stuffing his pockets, or she, full of money. That's why they vote for him for a second term." Well, I had an answer to my question now, even though I didn't agree with the answer, even though I couldn't really understand the answer, even though the answer seemed wrong and backwards to me, I still had the answer to it. After many more years in Russia, I suddenly started to see the validity in this answer, and I agreed with the logic. I no longer applied some American idealism to the question. I saw Russia for how it is, or how it was, whatever. I saw Russia for how it really is. Not how I'd like it to be, not how I imagine it to be, not how I think it should be, but for how it actually is. If I had the right to vote here, you know what? Now I think I would probably vote for this very same man. Does this mean that I've become more Russian? Or does this mean that our logic is more of a product of our environment? I don't know. Now, if you're from the West, and I'll especially speaking to people from the US, since that's the logic that I was exposed to and the way of thinking I was exposed to for the first 45 years of my life, you probably think that the Russian logic I just talked about is wrong, is really messed up, and should be changed. I mean, how can we change a situation if we don't try to change it ourselves, right? Well, I left the US 23 years ago, which means that the changes in the way of thinking there, or the changes in the logic, shouldn't have an effect on me because it hasn't been part of my environment for the past 23 years. Trust me though, many things that happen in ways of thinking in America now and in the West in general seem extremely strange to the rest of the world, including me now. Well, here's a change. Trigger warnings. What are trigger warnings? Well, it's just another component in the way that Americans think these days. Well, at least since the time I left. Trigger warning. The Bible may disturb your emotional health. The statements we're about to read are merely historical fiction, and therefore do not reflect all that we now know about more than 100 plus genders. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 27. Now, anyone outside of America would probably be questioning, why would they ever give a trigger warning before reading this Bible verse? Well, for many Americans, and because I can think like an American, I can see at least 3 reasons why there should be a trigger warning on that very short verse that we just read. Number 1, it speaks of God, and not all believe in God, so therefore it's offensive to some people. Number 2, it speaks of how he created them, and this implies, or doesn't even imply, it comes right out and says that God is a man, and that's very triggering to all women. Number 3, it says that male and female he created them, and that's extremely offensive also to the more than 100 plus other genders that are out there that are excluded. I thought we were supposed to be exclusive. Well, this Bible of mine isn't very inclusive, it's very exclusive. So that's at least 3. Well, we're going to watch a very short clip now by the Babylon Bee, which is a web-based satire site, and this would be an acceptable modern-day version of the scripture that we just read. So it would not need any trigger warning. So here, enjoy.
Haven't you read that in the beginning God created them male and female, and genderqueer, femboy, trans man, trans woman, two-spirit?
I used to enjoy the fact that when I left America about 23 years ago, it was still a moral nation without a lot of crazy ideas. But now it has fallen so quickly and so far that no American, especially overseas, can no longer feel a moral superiority over other nations or other cultures. So yeah, America, you now hold one of the top places in the competition for nations with the most batshit crazy ideas. Congratulations. Anyhow, in addition to my regular videos I produce, I hope to start producing some of these that show differences between Russian ways of thinking and American ways of thinking. And trust me, there are many times when we think the same way. I would say more often than not. And I'd like to illustrate some of those also. So I'll continue to produce my regular videos like the There and Now videos and everything else, but I want to incorporate these new ones, these new logic videos into the mix, so to speak. So until the next video, Paka.